Shutdown.
Yes, thank you for your time, Senator. How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership which said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to health care for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
Well, I think, look, as I have said, there are 53 Republicans in the Senate, correct?
Yes.
They need 60. What does that mean? It means you have to talk to the other side. Mike Johnson is not talking. John Thune is not talking. President Trump is not talking. That is the problem.
Well,
All right, family. So the government shutdown isn't complicated. Democrats are trying to make it seem like it's some big mystery, but here's what's really going on. Republicans passed a clean bill to keep the government open, and Democrats are refusing to vote for it unless they get extra money for Obamacare. That's it. This has nothing to do with Republicans being unreasonable or refusing to negotiate. The bill is clean. The spending levels are the same as before, and Democrats are the ones blocking it because they want to use this moment to force something unrelated into the budget. That's not leadership. That's holding the country hostage. Okay? Now, I do believe that these Democrats are playing right into Trump's hand because the simple fact is now it gives Trump the opportunity with the government being shut down to restructure the whole government when it comes to jobs, right? Because there's plenty of layoffs happening during the shutdown, which I believe are not coming back. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't believe these jobs are coming back, but also we know as when it comes to Republicans and conservatives, they believe in less government governing American lives, right? So since they believe less government in your life, but you pave a way to be able to have more opportunity, let alone have more resources to actually pave the way forward for yourself by putting in the work, unlike Democrats who believe in giving handouts, enabling you by acting like they're giving you a handout, but restricting you to the point where you can't get ahead, but they give you just enough just to get by. Now, this is why I believe that they're playing into Trump's hand because now he's able to reconstruct the government to the point where there's less government jobs, meaning there's less government. He's downsizing the government. Didn't Donald Trump say that plenty of times during his campaign? But check out this next clip. I find this very interesting.
but are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
I mean,
All right.
no.
Let me jump
I don't
in on
think
this
is
one. Let me.
about
This is
anything
see,
this is what we're
Caitlin,
talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking.
This is what we're
You have a
talking
country
about.
that is falling apart. We had a housing crisis, a healthcare crisis, an education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, a corrupt campaign finance system, and the media says, "Oh, you're going to run? What are you going to run for?" Nobody cares. She'll run what she wants.
Nobody cares. It's the House Speaker and President Trump and the Vice President saying it.
All right.
Pardon?
Well, of course, they're saying it to deflect attention away from the real issues.
Exactly.
And here, let me tell you what the real issue is. Let's see if CNN talks about it. We're living in the richest country in the history of the world, right? All right, you tell me why we're the only nation not to guarantee health care to all people, the only nation not to guarantee paid family and medical leave, why we have a $7.25 an hour minimum wage, why we have 800,000 people sleeping out on the street, why we have a president who denies the reality of climate change, why we have oligarchs on top who have more and more power every day. Let's talk about that issue, not her own political future. She'll decide that.
Now, I believe the more people pockets get hit, because when you start playing with people money and how they going to pay their bills and how they going to feed their children, it hits different. So the thing is, the more these Democrats keep playing these political theater games, it's just going to expose the very disconnect of why American people don't rock with them in the first place. Now, I do believe that Bernie Sanders is trying to push AOC, and I don't think it's going to happen, even though I know he's trying to push her to be at the forefront of things, to gain popularity, and to basically have voters looking her way. That's why they asked if she was going to run to be president one day. Now, they're trying to act like, oh, it doesn't matter, but why is Bernie Sanders so busy rocking with AOC so much? And let's be real. She don't even know how to answer questions effectively. So what is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez really going to do, aka AOC? Nothing. She ain't doing nothing now because the simple fact is she's speaking a bunch of gibberish and she still ain't getting nothing done. That's all it is. But now I want to take you to the actual video that took place on CNN. Check it out.
Bobby Harms is joining us. She's a bartender from Horn Lake, Mississippi. She is a Democrat. She submitted her question via video.
A Democrat from Mississippi.
Indeed.
All right. There we go.
My American dream has turned into a nightmare. My family was only days away from closing on a USDA loan for our dream home. Then came news of the shutdown, and now we face uncertainty. Our lease is up, and now we have to move. The shutdown is costing us our chance to live our dream. What are you doing to end this stalemate and help restore faith in our elected officials, the people I helped to choose to guard my American dream?
We're going to do everything that we can to bring an end to this terrible shutdown, which is hurting you and which is hurting 1 million federal employees and millions of people who use federal services. But also, we have got to be cognizant that if Trump wins this fight, our healthcare system could well collapse and tens of thousands of people could die every single year.
Do you think Trump could win this fight?
No, we're going to win it. But it's not, I don't want to look at it like a political fight. We're going to win it because the American people are on our side. If you are, or you're a Republican congresswoman, you're going to go back to your district and people are going to say to you, why are you doubling my insurance premiums? Why did you throw me off of health care? That's a fight that Republicans are not going to win.
Well, and to Bobby's question, Representative, earlier you said that House Speaker Mike Johnson said he wants this shutdown to be one of the longest in history. I believe he said it could be one of the longest in history. He was saying that more of a warning about how long it could go on. I don't think it was a threat. But I do think people want to know how long they should brace for this to potentially go on for. Do you think by Thanksgiving the government could still be shut down?
I mean, I would certainly hope not. I would certainly hope not. My hope is that we're able to resolve this as quickly as possible. I'm ready to negotiate. Bernie's ready to negotiate. I mean, we are all open and ready to.
Is anyone actually negotiating right now?
No,
Because
but let's,
we hear from
let me
Republicans and
reiterate
Democrats on
one
that.
point. Republicans aren't in town. How do you
House
negotiate with people who refuse even to show up to do their job? They're on vacation for what, a month now?
Yes. House Republicans have been on vacation for over.
But the Republican senators are here, and House Speaker Mike Johnson, we've had him on. He said, we've done our job. We passed the clean CR in the House. It's now up to the Senate to make these negotiations.
They need to pick up a phone, Caitlin. They need to pick up a phone. They're saying that they're doing all this work.
She said they need to pick up a phone. What the hell picking up a phone got to do with you actually being on the House floor and actually legislating like you're supposed to do? If I was Donald Trump, I'd be in Mar-a-Lago too playing golf and shit. Well, what I'm negotiating for? I already had a solution. Y'all didn't rock with it, but y'all not giving no other solution. So that's just common sense. Now, I want to get into why would you think that Democrats push, let me put it like this. Why the Democrats are holding the country hostage? It's simple because they're scared of the far left wing of their own party. People like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are looking over their shoulders because radicals like AOC, who you see on the screen right here talking about pick up the phone, are gaining more power. That's already talk about AOC running against Schumer. So now you got Democrat leadership trying to prove their base that they're still fighting the good fight, not for the American people, but for their own political survival. And this shutdown is about Democrat infighting within their own party. It's not about Republican stubbornness. And let's be real, Republicans already passed a continual resolution to keep everything funded at the same levels Democrats already agreed to in the past when it came to the Biden administration. But now Democrats suddenly won't vote for it. Why? Because it doesn't include more money for healthcare subsidies. See, I'm going to tell you the truth. They're trying to squeeze in extra government funding to keep bailing out Obamacare. Obamacare is supposed to expire by the end of this year. So, which is by the way, was supposed to make healthcare affordable without needing extra money in the first place, right? Obamacare is supposed to be so affordable. So if it worked, why are we still paying more every year? Don't add up, right? And healthcare expenses. That's the part people need to understand. Obamacare didn't never solve the problem. It made it worse because premiums went up, deductibles got higher, and options went down. So now when they need to add subsidies, which is just a fancy word for using your tax dollars to cover the cost for someone else, when you have things like charity care and Medicare and all that stuff, just to keep the whole system from collapsing. See, Democrats believe throwing money at problems. The more money they print, the higher the cost of living and everything is going to be affected. Who do you think is footing the bill while they do these careless acts? The American people, right? So if you think about it like this, if your car keeps breaking down, you have to borrow money every week to fix it, maybe the car isn't worth saving anymore. But instead of getting a better system, they just want you to keep paying for the breakdown. So let's talk plain logic, right? Because when the government says free healthcare, like Bernie, big crackhead over here, what they mean is taxpayer funded healthcare. In simple words, nothing is free. Somebody always pays. And that somebody is usually the working class American who has a job, pays taxes, already pays a premium every month for insurance through their job. So the problem is you're not just paying for yourself anymore. You're also covering the cost of people who don't work, who don't pay into the system and still use the system. So that's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. And you're getting squeezed so someone else can get a free ride. So here's another part they don't want to tell you about or talk about. Why is healthcare so expensive in the first place, right? It's not just about insurance companies. It's about our entire lifestyle. America has a health crisis because we are unhealthy. Our food is loaded with garbage. We don't exercise, and personal responsibility is nowhere in the conversation. You can't eat trash, live reckless. How many people know Tay Tay and Pei Pei over here that's on type 2 diabetes and they 20 plus years old and they walking around talking about they need all this medical help and then they expect free medical care and they keep running to the ER, and somebody like you that actually works as an American working part of the American working class American people, you go to the ER and keep going to that ER and see how much you're gonna pay. Versus the person that's on Medicaid like Tay Tay over here, who just keep jeopardizing their own health, don't care, don't have no accountability whatsoever, but they know, oh, I could just keep running to the ER. So they expect free medical care for the consequences. But if we really wanted to fix healthcare, we'll fix how we eat, what's in the food, and how we treat our bodies, right? But the government don't want to talk about that because that will require telling people the truth. Let's continue.
Twiddling their thumbs and talking to each other. It is actually an unconscionable abdication and refusal to work. They refuse. I've never seen people
Why is
who
she
hate
yelling?
working so much in my life. I mean, genuinely, they won't even pick up the phone. They won't. If I were Mike Johnson, you should be in that office negotiating with Hakeem Jeffries every damn day until we reopen this government. And any day that you don't do that is a failure. It is a failure. And until there is accountability for people who refuse to work, then we're going to continue to be in this cycle. So, you know, in the Senate, the Senate Majority Leader is John Thune. He should be negotiating with Chuck Schumer. President Trump should be having congressional leaders in the White House. Do you see that every day? No, you don't, because they're playing golf and they're going to Mar-a-Lago, and the House and Republicans in the House have been on vacation for weeks now. We are here in Washington, D.C. We are ready to work. We are ready to strike a deal. We're not here to just be my way and the highway about everything. But what we're also not going to accept is the...
You see what she just said? Read between the lines, family. She said, we're not trying to be, this is the Democrat she's talking about, because she's a Democrat, obviously. We're not trying to be my way or the highway. Listen to this.
to just be my way and the highway about everything. But what we're also not going to accept
My way or the highway about everything. Remember that. I'll talk about it in a minute.
is the complete collapse of the American healthcare system, so that just because the Republican Party has decided to take 1 million federal workers hostage.
Can I ask you on that, because you before have said a government shutdown is like hostage taking when it comes to paychecks, because you came into office actually during a government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. So what would you say to Republicans who say you're doing the hostage taking this time?
Once again, pick up the phone.
That's how she gonna answer that question. But she's working on the people's behalf. But then she says, "Oh, well, you're the one that said actually what are people?" She asked her, "What are people basically saying now about the Democratic Party holding the government hostage?" As we know that you came into office, AOC, when there was a government shutdown, and you would say that that's like holding um the American people hostage because you're not working on their behalf. Now that the script has flipped and now the question is on you, what about the American people saying you holding American people hostage and you doing these things in regards of not working on the behalf of American people? Her answer is pick up the phone. That's her answer. Pick up the phone. She not on the floor. She not on the House floor. She not legislating. Just pick up the phone. That tells you how much they really care, because they don't really care. So when she get on, when she pulls out these emotional stories, and the Democrats, and they talk about these emotional stories, and CNN puts a camera on someone who says, I was about to buy a house, but now I can't because of the shutdown. That's sad. That's real. But don't blame the wrong people, because Republicans already voted to keep the government open. See, Democrats are the ones stalling it, not because they care about you, but because they want to look tough to their radical base. So when someone's dream get crushed because of this, it's on the people blocking the vote. And right now, that's the Democrats. And AOC gets on TV talking about Republicans refuse to work and won't negotiate. That's not true, because like I said, the House passed the funding bill. The ball is in the Democrats' court, and they don't like the deal, but they already agreed to it multiple times in the past. And now, just because they didn't get to add their wish list, they're throwing a fit. And what she really means is Republicans aren't begging us for approval. They're mad Republicans won't bow down to their nonsense. That's all it is. That's all this is. A political ego trip dressed up as a budget debate. And at the end of the day, this whole thing exposes how far left controls the Democrat Party now. Chuck Schumer isn't leading. He's reacting. AOC talking about pick up the phone, and her crowd taking over, and everyone else is trying to keep up. This shutdown is happening because Democrats are afraid to look weak in front of their own activists. They'd rather let the government shut down than admit Obamacare isn't working, or that maybe, just maybe, we don't need more government spending right now. So they're trying to make it look like Republicans are cruel and selfish. But let's flip the question. Why should we keep spending more money on broken programs that don't work? Why is it a scream to say we need to cut waste? Why is it selfish to want the government to live within its means, just like the rest of us have to? If your paycheck doesn't stretch far, you got to cut costs, right? You don't print money or steal from your neighbor, but that's exactly what they want to do. Take from the productive and give to the dependent, and call it compassion. The truth is, government is the problem. Obamacare didn't make healthcare better. It just gave the government more control, and now the people who depend on that control don't want to let go. So they cry, they stall, they blame everyone else, but facts are simple. The more touches, the government touches, the more expensive and broken it becomes. And this isn't about helping people, it's about power. It's about votes. It's about keeping the illusion going. So when you hear them say people are suffering, ask this one question. Why are we still suffering after spending trillions of dollars? Why does everything cost more if government programs are supposed to help, right? Why do we keep handing over money for more? Why do we keep handing over more of our money to a system that never delivers? These are the real questions they don't want to answer, because deep down, they know the answers makes them look bad. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. As always, we just having a conversation. Give this video a big thumbs up. It helps crush that YouTube algorithm. Catch you on the next one. Peace.